Today we're talking about the 5 reasons why the INFJ can't find a partner. So this is something that you read online over and over again. So many INFJs that I talk to will say the same thing. It's hard to find a partner that really fits with us. And the truth is that very often we're looking in the wrong direction. We are not understanding what is necessary for us to be happy because, the things that seem great at first sight are probably not the things that really will make us happy in the long term. At the same time, we also have to understand that we just crave so many things out of a relationship. And because we're not willing to settle, we're way more likely to stay single for a longer time in order to get what we want because we rather have nothing than to go for something that is just mediocre. So today we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why the INFJ struggle so much to find a partner and how we can use all of that knowledge to our advantage in order to go for and attract the people into our lives that actually make us happy long term. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide today. Everything you need to know, you can find in the links in the description. So reason number 1 why the INFJ can't find a partner is because we're looking for a partner who's on the one hand our solution and on the other hand a project. So hear me out on this because it sounds very harsh and it's not meant to be like this, right? I've done this millions of times. Well, maybe not millions, but you get the point. Like, I've done this so often. This is something that felt so natural to me. And, throughout the last 10 years, I've talked to so many INFJs about this. And this is something that every single INFJ seemed to have in common. So the solution part is that we're looking for somebody that will help us escape from our life. Right? It might be somebody who's our neighbor. It might be somebody who lives in another country. But what we want to do is to attach ourselves into their world so we can feel joy. Because we tend to, experience the world through others. We experience joy through others. And it seems like such an easy way out, right? Because it is hard to create an exciting life for ourselves. And we haven't really learned how to in most ways, right? This is what my channel is all about, to create like that life on your terms, to feel excited when you want to feel excited and not because you have a person like that around you. But that is one of the things we look for. So if we meet somebody who seems to fulfill so many of our needs, as in excitement, there's something that can grow, there is a direction there, we really go towards that person and we put all our energy into that. At the same time, though, we want to help people. So, you feel like you've hit the jackpot with a person when that person is your project as well. And of course, you don't see it this way as an INFJ. It's not like you think, oh, that person is my solution and is my project, and therefore I'm, really infatuated with them. What I mean with project is there's one way where you feel like you can save them. You can show them how great they actually are. You can open their eyes to all the potential they already have. All of those things, right? We want to be the cheerleader. We want to be the coach. We want to be the counselor. We want to be somebody that makes them see something that they're not able to see. So we're naturally drawn towards people who have some big insecurity. And at the same time, we're also looking towards somebody who might be our ticket out of, the boring life that we're living. So why is that a problem? Well, because that version of what we're looking for doesn't really exist. And even if you find that person who seemed to have all of those aspects, you're going to be so attached to that. You're going to want it so much that the other person is probably going to run away one way or another because it's too much responsibility. It's too much for them to be that person for you, right? In order to have a happy and fulfilled relationship, we have to really have a life that we enjoy, right? And we add somebody to our life. That person should not be your solution, and they definitely shouldn't be your project. So you have to be looking for somebody who is really on your level, who's not going to be your solution, and who definitely isn't somebody that you have to pull out of a deep hole of something sad, that you're going to be the one that can fix that. You want those things, so include them in your life, but don't look for them in your partner. create solutions for your life, create an exciting life, and help people, like add value to the world by sharing your gift. But do it in healthy boundary settings, and don't do it in such close relationships where you actually need somebody by your side who's growing and going towards the same direction you are, but you're still doing your own thing next to each other instead of looking towards each other as the solution and as the part that is missing in your life. Reason number 2 why the INFJ can't find a partner is because the INFJ doesn't really show their true colors. Very often we keep hidden our strengths, we keep hidden our, ambitions, we keep hidden anything that might not seem perfect about us because we're so aware of how we affect other people. We're so aware of how other people are feeling and how our behavior makes an impact on them and how it affects them and how other people think of us because of that we so often keep so much of ourselves hidden. But that is something we need to change, because the truth is, if you are not really showing up as the person that you are, you're never going to find somebody who accepts that. It's even more drastic than that. Because if you believe that parts of you are shameful, that you might be too outspoken, too harsh, too, ambitious, or too selfish, or whatever you might feel, you're naturally going to surround yourself and be attracted towards people who feel the same way. So of course, you're going to be around people that, if you show your true colors, will run the other way. And so this is this paradox, and this is the dilemma, because you're continuously surrounding yourself with people who give you the feedback of, yes, you should be ashamed of those parts of yourself. You should keep those things hidden. But as long as you keep them hidden, you will always feel like something is missing. And one way or another, you will want to bring this out. And once you do, that's when people vanish. That's when something, gets really weird, because that person thought the entire time you were somebody different. So it's on us to start living out our true colors and everything that we are right from the get-go, as much as you possibly can. Knowing that other people might think that you're selfish, or that you're too proud, or too, excited about certain things, or too weird, whatever it may be. Because only once you accept that these are parts of you, you can start liking these parts of you. Right? Without acceptance, it never works. And at the same time, you actually give people the opportunity to meet the real you. And that will be a completely different scenario, and you will attract completely different people. And then you'll finally find people who will never say to you, oh, you're too much, there's something wrong with you. When I met my husband for the first time ever, it was like, I don't know what you're talking about. How can people think you're too much? Like, what are you talking about? And the same scenario and the same things I've told him, I've told so many people before that, and they ran. And even if I showed it to my friends and said, what is wrong about the way I was saying things and doing things, they said, you cannot do this. People will run, of course. This is way too intense. This is way too much. But that's actually who I am. That's who we are as INFJs. We are intense. We are a lot. But as I like to say, if we as INFJs seem too much for other people, then they should go find less. But the moment you start accepting yourself and you realize there's absolutely nothing too much for me, there's nothing that is wrong about me, that's exactly how I'm supposed to be, you'll naturally attract people who are on that wavelength one way or another. They will see this as normal. And the people who thought of you as too much, they will just go out their way, and you will not care about their opinion anymore. But you will continuously go into those same cycles and go for the same people where it never really works out, because there are parts of you that you feel like are not good enough to be loved. So it's on us to bring more of that out as much as you possibly can, so you really switch out the people around your life and the way you accept yourself. Reason number 3, the INFJ is very afraid of rejection. And hear me out, the INFJ is very independent, right? We all know this. The INFJ isn't really so keen on being very popular or for people to accept the INFJ. But we have learned that we are different all our lives. And on top of that, we know so well how others feel about certain things. We feel when their opinion of us changes. We are aware of that. We, get that. That's the way the INFJ is set up with their second function, extroverted feeling, right? This isn't just about creating emotions. It's also about reading a room, having like some overall understanding of how people are experiencing certain things. And so we're very aware and we feel it in our body very intensely when other people reject us. And so it's something that keeps us back from, being ourselves and showing out the way we truly are. Like very often we feel, but I'm so vulnerable. I'm being open and I'm being kind and, I'm not really putting up a facade. But trust me, that's not the real fear of rejection. What the INFJ is afraid of is that people are going to think that we're selfish, that people are going to think we're weird, we're different, we're, all about ourselves and how we see the world, and we are not caring so much about them, right? So if we think, well, but I'm being so kind and I'm being so open and I'm focusing all on them, like, what is the problem? How can, that be a fear of rejection? I am being so vulnerable. You're not really being that, because being vulnerable is not just about showing those soft sides of yours and those sides that are about, oh, I care about you, but it's also about you choosing you. Because of course, it's much easier for others to accept you if you're, catering to them, if you're making sure they're all right. It's a whole different story if you say, I want people to like me for me liking me choosing me, saying I prioritize my life, and people like that. That's something a lot of INFJs are afraid of. And that's when we really fear rejection so much. But if we're not doing that, if we're always catering to what other people are doing, we're never going to find the people who actually match with us and who can live with us, in this environment that can grow and, create a life full of abundance. It really has to come down to this. I create a life full of abundance. I keep on growing. I keep on creating the life that I want. And then I add somebody to my life who adds to my happiness, and vice versa. Right? We're not looking for a solution. We're not looking for somebody to tell us we're okay. And we're definitely not looking for somebody who likes us because of what we can do for them and how we see them. That can be an aspect to it, but that definitely shouldn't be the main thing we're going for. Because trust me, if that worked, we wouldn't be talking about it now. It is something that just simply doesn't work and is one of the main reasons why INFJs stay single and can't find a partner for such a long time. Reason number 4 why the INFJ can't find a partner is because the INFJ is super afraid of staying stuck with that person, of settling for a person, and to feel like once we make that decision, our life is locked. The reason for this is because all our life we have learned and we've conditioned ourselves that we are not the ones who are going to say what direction our life will go. But if you take on responsibility for that now and you do that independent of if somebody comes into your life or not, you will never have this problem, because you will never feel like you're settling for a person or, you're getting stuck with that person, because that person isn't going to be the reason why your life is exciting or boring. That person isn't going to be the reason why you feel you can't move or you can move. You're the one who makes these things happen. And if you decide for yourself from now on, you're in the driver's seat in your life, because that's exactly how it is. You don't have to be the driver in other people's lives, and you know where you want to go and how you want your life to be, then you can find somebody who wants a life that really matches with yourself, that, you have logistical things that are working together. It's not just like this fairy tale thing, and this connection of souls, but it's actually something that works in the real world. And once this happens, you will have that soul connection. You will be at peace and you will be calm, because you're then not going to be resentful or be afraid what that might say about you. Because what's the big problem here, right? You might say, okay, I'm afraid of feeling stuck. So why is that really a problem when it comes to finding the right partner? Because those people shouldn't be in my life to begin with. Well, the problem is this: in order to be comfortable, finding the right person, going on dates, figuring this whole process out and not making it mean anything, you have to be willing to go a little bit further down that road. You have to be willing to talk to a person for more than 5 minutes. You have to be willing to go out on a date, spend some time without feeling bad that, oh, I'm going to give him a false impression, or if I do that, then I can't back off, or anything like that. And those feelings come up because of our fear of being stuck, because of our fear that we can get out of that situation, but we always can, right? You're not marrying that person, you're not committing to anything long term, but you have to give yourself the opportunity to get over all of those fears of yourselves and say, well, let's see what happens. I'm not 100% sure that this is a no-go. It might, like right now, it's okay. Like I'm comfortable going on a date with this person. I'm not comfortable, meeting them again at this point, but, to get to know them for this one evening, go have, dinner, that's fine. So we have to get into those situations knowing very well that we're not getting stuck. We're not going to settle for anything that we don't want, but that does not mean that we shouldn't even start the process, because then we would just put ourselves in those situations where we can't get out of. You can't get out all the time, every time. Nobody can force you to do something you don't want to do. And reason number 5, why INFJs struggle to find a partner is because INFJs don't like to be pragmatic. There's something about being pragmatic that just doesn't work for us. We want the intensity. We want the romance. We want to see somebody and have like this moment and it all makes sense. What we forget though in this moment is that this is just not what it takes. Like you can have those moments with people, but has that really worked out for you every single time? Well, it definitely hasn't worked out for me every single time. And most INFJs that I've talked to, it hasn't worked out. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that we as INFJs crave the intensity. We crave the romance. We crave this bigger than life scenario. But in order to allow ourselves to go there, we have to make sure, does this thing have a future? If we're only going towards those things that give us those feelings, we forget that we as INFJs tend to put those feelings onto situations that are actually unrealistic. People that live on the other side of the world, people that we already know in some kind of way are not compatible with us. And the list goes on, because it's so much easier to project those feelings onto something that cannot happen. So we have to really, first off, make sure what we want. We have to ask ourselves, we have to say, this is what I want in my life. I'm not going to go into something thinking, let's see what happens. No, decide for yourself. Do I want a family? Do I want something casual? Where do I want to live? How do I want my life to look like? What do I want to do on the weekends? Right? Really pragmatic, boring things. And when you have those things, they have to come first. Because if those things don't work, then the relationship isn't going to work. No matter how much of an intense, connection you have with this person, it's just not going to work in the real world. It might be your fantasy in your mind, but it will only lead to heartbreak. Let me know if this is true or not. And this is coming from somebody who's had, year-long relationships with another person on another continent. So I know it can work. But this is not why it worked, right? This is not something that made it happen long term, and it's not something that, will be the solution for the INFJ. And guess what? If you make sure that those logistical things are working, that you are going to be pragmatic, that you decide those things for yourself, then you still can have all the intensity, all the romance, all the excitement you want. But you're just not wasting your time on certain situations that are not leading you towards the place you want to go. Remember, if you want some more guidelines into creating healthy relationships, then also check out the INFJ Epic Life Formula poster. Everything you read there also applies to relationships, and the same thing goes for the audio guide. Having healthy relationships is part of creating the INFJ Epic Life on your terms, and it's about time you take that into your own hands. Everything you need to know if you want to look deeper into it, you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video why the INFJ can't find a partner.